What is up, Team Happy and Fit? Happy Tuesday. It is so fun that you all are here. I had some really meaningful conversations today, and it just makes me excited to be on this team, whether you're here for self-care or you're here for self-care and also wanting to build a business in this. I think either way, it's a win because you get to work on yourself. There's so much value in growing. There's so much value in working on yourself. And it's just been super fun to connect with coaches on our team that stumbled to get here. Like they stumbled and found someone, saw a transformation post, or someone reached out to them and they said no a lot and then said yes. They were they had objections, whatever it was. It's just amazing that we all ended up here, and I'm so grateful. Tonight we have a special treat. Bridget and Jess are going to be sharing their best practices, and I'm so excited because I feel as though, well, first of all, Bridget, I feel like you're always working on a Tuesday, so this just works so well, and I'm so excited you're here. But two, I just think everyone has a voice and everyone has a best practice of some sort of life, and I'm just so honored that you two would just be here and be sharing that with all of us. So I'm going to give it away and let you two go right ahead.
All right. Well, hey, everybody. My name is Jessica Rowitter. Bridget and I have some things wrote down, and we agreed that I would go ahead and start, and then I will pass things over to her later. So I have my notes. I told Julianne earlier that we didn't get fancy. I was concerned about doing a PowerPoint and trying to switch it over. So I was like, I'm not even going to go there. But so like I said, my name is Jessica Rowitter. Bridget and I are doing this call tonight together. So I'm going to talk a little bit and then I'll pass it off to her. She'll tell you a little bit about herself. So the point of our call tonight is going to be geared towards the idea of having an autoimmune disease, because both Bridget and I have an autoimmune disease, and then how to help yourself not yourself, like yourself as a coach, but also to help your customers, because Bridget and I have learned that this journey is very different for us because of the ways that we have to do things a lot of the times. So if you are a diamond coach, and I rewatched it. So Danielle, I think you were on that call actually, that was in September, and I know Kim was and Julianne was also. There's a really good diamond call that a girl did. I can't even remember her name, but oh yeah, Jill was too. But the thing is that she got really in depth. So I am also a nurse. Bridget is a nurse. She got very cellular. And so we're going to say we're going to skim the surface, I guess is how we're going to call that. But so Bridget and I met, I think it was 14 years ago. We worked together. I think it was that long ago. So we're both nurses. I'm a nurse. I am an as-needed nurse in the recovery unit, and I work usually at least 2 days a week, but I call my own hours, so that's a super helpful thing. I joined Beachbody, exactly. I joined Beachbody back in July of 2015. Before I forget, I do want to send out a disclaimer. We are not doctors. These are just our ideas. Don't take this and say, Jessica and Bridget said I have to do this. Don't ever say that. We are just giving ideas. We are giving you what works for us. So checking that out there. But so yes, I'm a mom. I have 2 girls who are actually upstairs, and my husband works evenings, so he's not home. I have the 2 girls. I'm married. I live in Iowa. Bridget's out in California. What else? I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's disease, which is an autoimmune disease of the thyroid. Now, I know that there's other people on this who very much will understand where I'm coming from, what we're talking about, where we're coming from. I was diagnosed in March of 2018. So I was already on my journey, which was an awesome, awesome thing for me already. The one thing that I do want to stress is everyone's journey is different. Even if they're an autoimmune disease person, even if they're a coach, or all of it, all of our journeys are so very, very different. The one thing with autoimmune people and chronic illness people is a lot of times we live day to day because of the fact sometimes we have days where we really exert ourselves, and then the next day we're just exhausted. For example, this weekend, it was beautiful on Sunday and time change. Monday, I barely got off the couch. And I know that happens for a lot of people, but we're just going to explain something that's going to help you guys to understand it a little bit better. And I think it'll just help you guys to understand a little bit more of how it's a little bit different for autoimmune and chronic disease people. So go ahead and take it away, Bridget.
Okay, can you guys hear me? Okay, awesome. All right, so I have my notes written down too, so I'm sorry if I look down. I love seeing all of your beautiful faces, but this is super nerve-wracking, just to put it out there. So anyway, thanks Jess for the introduction, throwing it over to me, Julian, for letting us talk on this subject. So my name is Bridget Zavirin. Or if you can see the spelling of the last name, no one can ever say it. I thank my husband for that. And I could introduce myself as an Enneagram 7 or a yellow with a lot of blue tendencies as well, but I felt like I could just introduce myself quickly with my 6 roles. So I'm a wife to Rob. We're actually, I put it in the notes, but we're on a little getaway. We love traveling. He's awesome. He's super into Beachbody as well. And our hopes are to build a business together. But anyway, I'm already off my notes. I'm a dog mom to Bronco. I'm an aunt who can't get enough of my family. I'm a travel nurse. I'm from Iowa, like Jessica said, but currently on assignment in San Diego. I've traveled all around the whole United States, and it's super awesome, and I love the nomadic lifestyle. Like Jess mentioned, I'm a Hashimoto's warrior. I'm also a chronic Lyme disease patient and a lot of other things too. So the last thing though is I'm super passionate and hopeful that we can heal our own bodies, and I'm passionate about sharing that with others, and I can do that through this coaching opportunity. So a little backstory on my journey with Beachbody. Gosh, back when Jess and I started working together, I was working night shifts, and I saw those infomercials for Turbo Jam, and I was like, who is this chick? She's way cuter than Billy Blanks in my Turbo. Oh God, what was his thing called? I don't know, but you guys know what I'm talking about. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But anyway, I was like, she's awesome. So I got her DVDs. I got, yeah, Tybo. Thank you. I always, I got Turbo Jam, and then I went on and got Insanity. I have to admit, half of those DVDs are still in the plastic little carrier in that huge box that it came with. So I knew I needed a coach. I saw Jess posting on social media. I really had no idea what coaching was, but she was like, hey, join my group. I loved the accountability. I switched from my randomly assigned coach, I didn't even know who that person was, joined Jess, and then realized that coaching was just such a great fit for me and my lifestyle. And so I joined her, and it was July of 2017. And Jess, you were diagnosed with Hashimoto's in 2017, not 18. Because I was April 2017, right behind you. So this has been a journey for both of us, and it's been kind of crazy that we've had so many similarities, but it's been amazing to have the support and accountability. So just grateful for Jess, this team, and all of that. So we talked about Jess and I connecting through nursing and through coaching, and then as well as our diagnosis of Hashimoto's, which is an autoimmune issue. So tonight, we just want to share a little bit more about what autoimmunity is, and help other coaches who may not be familiar with what this is understand, so they can use the appropriate tools for their customers and coaches, and maybe understand what these people or us people, maybe some of you guys are, I don't know how to classify, but anyway, what we go through on a day-to-day basis. Our hope is that you can take this information and use it to better serve your customers and coaches, maybe even yourself, with the appropriate tools offered through Beachbody. Okay, let me take a deep breath. Thanks for sticking with me. All right, so now I want you guys to picture your kitchen or your drawer in your kitchen, and the one that's full of spoons. It can be forks or knives too, but for this analogy, we're just going to use spoons. So you have a full drawer of spoons. Now I want you to think about having to take a spoon out of that drawer for each activity that requires energy throughout the day. So this may be physical, this could be emotional, this can be mental. So you wake up in the morning, you brush your teeth, you take a spoon, and you discard it. You have to make your children breakfast, you take a spoon. You do your workout, you take a spoon. You have an amazing conversation with a friend, you take a spoon. You take your parents to the doctor, you take a spoon. You guys get the idea, right? Still with me? Yeah, cool, okay. Now, think about that drawer, and you open it, and you have 5 spoons, maybe 10 spoons. That's what it feels like to have an autoimmune issue. You have limited amounts of energy. So each spoon is a measurement for energy. So some days we may have 5 spoons. Some days we may have 15, feel really good. But at the end of the, once you do your energy task and those spoons are gone, there's no choice for us but to stop, rest, and replenish. And this can be extremely, extremely difficult. I do have to tell you that I kind of practiced this a little bit, and I was sobbing every time I did, because I'm I hate that I have to accept that this is my life right now. But just so I hope that gives you guys a better idea of what it feels like to live day to day with an autoimmune issue. Like Jess said, I think I missed a whole bunch of stuff. But anyways, like Jess said, we're not nurses, we are nurses, we're not doctors. This is not to cure, treat, prevent, or any of that stuff. The disclaimer, I just want to make sure we have that covered, because I don't know if any of you guys have, but I got an email from Beachbody you got to take this post down. You can't say these things. So anyway, I think I might send it back to Jess, but actually, so nervous. Did I even go over what autoimmune issues are? No, I totally skipped that part. Okay, so we're going to back up a little bit. So now you know what autoimmunity may feel like. I'm going to tell you what an autoimmune issue is. So autoimmunity is basically when your body is attacking itself. The National Institute of Health estimated that 23.5 million Americans have an autoimmune issue. And these are just the people who are diagnosed. It's very, very difficult to diagnose these issues as well, because most of the time we just hear that chick's just crazy. It's all in her head. It's not. It's legit and it's real. So common autoimmune diseases, disorders, or issues you may be familiar with or hear are Hashimoto's, Raynaud's, rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, irritable bowel, celiac disease, psoriasis, narcolepsy, and these are just to name a few. Common symptoms: fatigue, joint pain, brain fog, skin problems, abdominal pain, digestive issues, inflammation, and bloating. And word finding difficulties, memory. Right now. All right. So common triggers can be poor diet, sluggish liver, leaky gut. Stress is a major one, toxicity, infections, mold, parasites, and obviously our genetics. So now that you guys have an idea of what autoimmunity is and kind of what it feels like, I'm going to send this back over to Jess, and she's just going to go through the Beachbody Tools and how they can actually be so beneficial and helpful to our customers and coaches when used appropriately. Okay, thank you.
You did great, Bridget. That was awesome. You did good. You did good. Okay, so like Bridget said, I am just going to start to go over a few of the things that we find to be beneficial. But again, I can't stress it enough. You have to go off the person, just like with everything, but especially with autoimmunity. When Bridget and I were talking, planning our everything, and she just kind of kept bringing up the idea that we have to make sure that we even start at very minimal things sometimes, because a lot of people with chronic illness sometimes can't even get out of bed. And so, little things like drinking 8 ounces more of water can be a goal for somebody like that. So like things like that where, I think for some of us, lots of us, we've been on our journey for so long that taking the step back to the beginning stages is hard for us to remember. But it's even harder to be an autoimmune person or chronic disease person and just trying to get out of bed some of the days, because those are the people, like Bridget said, where depression comes in and things like that, because they just feel defeated frequently. So just keep that in mind of making small goals. And in the beginning, even if in that other Zoom, see, I still have word finding issues too. So in that other Zoom, she was discussing the fact that one of the things that was her goal was to make a meal. Now, we don't think about making a meal as taking a lot of energy, but for someone who's chronic or autoimmune, it can take a lot of energy. Just like Bridget said, making a meal could take 3 of those spoons and all they have left are 2. So, it's little things like that that we have to keep in mind. And, Bridget and I have our autoimmune diseases, and I'm not saying that we're well off. I'm not saying that we're horrible, but I am saying that there's a really wide span of where people are. So some of the things product-wise, program-wise, think along the lines for a majority of people of the low impact. When I first started my journey, I did max 30. That was way prior to my diagnosis. I was 2 years into Beachbody before I was diagnosed. So I'm so thankful that I had the building blocks of Beachbody before I was diagnosed, rather than the opposite of being diagnosed and then attempting to, change my life and things like that. But one of the things that, looking back, I never lost weight with a program, never. Even Max 30, which was one of my first programs, I barely had any results. And still to this day, I've never had a program, and I'm so jealous of those people that have the and more power to you guys. That's awesome. I'm so proud of you guys for doing that. But, seeing those huge weight losses, it's like, oh, I just wish I could. So anyhow, extreme workouts aren't always good, and especially good for us. So think about your PIO, your 3-week yoga retreat. 3-week yoga retreat is Bridget's go-to. She goes to that one all the time. Lift 4 was really good. And now for me, bar was really good. Really, really good. It's the small movements. It's the, exactly. It's the impact, the low impact, and high intensity. And then even for this entire first round, I did not use any weights. And that's the beauty, is to make sure that they're modifying and to let them know that modifying is okay, that they're at least still moving their body. And the idea of increasing intensity and going low calorie is not always the answer. And so, when you have somebody who can't lose weight, don't just tell them to go down another bracket. And actually, Bridget has said frequently, go up. She, I'll get into the meal plans here in a little bit, but she's a firm believer of not going lower on the bracket and actually adding more foods, just making sure that they're the good foods for our bodies. So PIO, 3-week yoga retreat, Lift 4, and bar are the 4 programs that I would recommend. Again, everybody's individual. So just make sure you're looking at the person. Modifying. Oh, and I would also stress too, that it could take a lot longer for them to finish a program. And that's another okay thing. Bridget's, I took quite a while to finish MM100, but at the same time, she's also mentally prepared for that. So we're going to go into mindset here in a little bit of, as a coach, that's a lot of our responsibility of letting them know that it is okay for them to take longer than the allotted time or what all of the peers are doing. So that's huge. So product wise, Shakeology, hello. So Shakeology is amazing. We do not have to think about what goes into it. That being said, make sure with your autoimmune diseases that you don't have somebody who can't drink it. Just because we know it's amazing does not mean that it is for everyone. If you have a celiac person, so with somebody with autoimmune disease, I remember through my journey, pushing so hard to get better that all of a sudden people would say, well, try this. And I'd be like, no, I can't try that. I'm finally feeling good. I'm not going to add anything else in there. So really be respectful of that, and just maybe let them know that it's there. And then eventually when they're ready, they will decide that they can go ahead and try it. Because, we try, a lot of us, so someone suffering tries really hard to just feel well. And when they get to that point, they just want to stay where they're at because they're finally feeling good again. So keep that in mind with Shakeology. And I just saw somebody posted on one of the sites that she has like a mushroom allergy, so she can't drink Shakeology. So it's things like that where, as good as we know it is, we also have to be very mindful of all the allergies and not just say, here you go. So Shakeology, yes, I drink the vegan, Bridget drinks the vegan. That part, fears can, blah, blah, blah. Next one is Energize. So because Energize is amazing, I'm not looking at any of the content. I see a question, so we'll come back to those later. I'm blocking those out. We'll come back to them a little bit. So Energize is amazing. It actually has ingredients in there that actually help at the cellular level. So not only does it give the energizing effects, but it has that Q word in it, the Q word that I can't pronounce, quercetin, I think, ish, whatever. That actually helps on the cellular level also. And sleep. I can't stress this one enough. Please do not ask your people to cut back on sleep if they have an autoimmune disease, because we can sleep and it still may not help. And so, 8 hours or whatever, 8 hours, 10 hours, it all depends on what our body needs. And sleep is so important to everyone, all of us, but especially those who, are with any disease process going on. Sleep, yes. And then nutrition plans. So we have amazing nutrition plans. That's all there is to it. We have amazing nutrition plans. 2B Mindset and the container system. So 2B Mindset is one that I know a lot of people have had amazing thyroid results on. Now, it did not work as well for me. I needed more structure, but the containers are working very well for me right now. And it's just sticking to it, and the idea of eating vegetables and fruits and cutting out the crap. So that is primarily where that comes from. Now, Bridget does a different piece of her nutrition plan, and I have a child coming down to kiss me goodnight. So on that note, I'm going to hand it off to you, Bridget.
All right, awesome. Thanks, Jess, for explaining those things. I wanted to also include for tools on Beachbody On Demand. Within the yoga studio, there are so many great 10-minute yoga stretches. There's also meditation, which if someone can't physically do exercise, there's still opportunities for them to utilize BOD. There's an AM meditation, a PM meditation, and then I think there's 2 other ones. They're like 10 minutes and 20 minutes. So those are huge, huge, huge things that I think so many people have no idea that we even have those to offer. So meditation might be something you're very familiar with, or it can be something that you're like, isn't that when you like float in the air? I don't know. Some people know a lot, some people aren't too familiar with it, but it is something that I highly encourage at least experiencing for yourself, so you can determine or explain it to someone else that may be able to use that. So I love PiYo. My body never felt so good when I do PiYo in the lower extremity things, or the lower impact, still high energy, and that it was a huge shift for me. So I was always like super competitive, super gung-ho, and I found myself at 210 pounds, not able to lose weight with all the different diets, with all, even in the exercise programs I did, I don't know, all the ones before, it doesn't matter, but it wasn't until I really dialed in with my nutrition, stress, reduction, sleep, and worked with a functional doctor. That's really helped me release 50 pounds. I have done the training for the 21 or the Fixate, and I love To Be Mindset. I love both of them, and I like to communicate with my customers or coaches which one's more appropriate for them, depending on kind of their personality and what they like. The more structured with the containers, or the more like, I just kind of want to plate it sort of thing. Both really incorporate whole foods. And I can't say enough about the new recipes that in the books that are coming out that label things dairy-free, gluten-free, this is vegan, those sort of things. Those are so important. For me personally, I have to stay away from gluten, dairy, soy, eggs, a whole list of things, because I'm highly sensitive to so many of them. But I would have never known that had I not been involved with Beachbody and understood nutrition so much better. So that's kind of what I wanted to say about that. So I understand that all this can seem pretty overwhelming. If you guys have questions, please put them in the chat, and we'll get to them after we're done, after we're kind of done with the presentation. But I really wanted to discuss mindset. So a quote that I have found relates really well with me, my personal journey, my coaching journey, is little by little, a little becomes a lot. And it's that compounded consistency. Like I said, I can relate this to my personal journey and my coaching journey. I have to tell you guys that I grew up extremely active and super competitive, like I mentioned before. Brute strength is something that was never ever an issue for me. I think all the boys growing up are scared of me and blah blah blah, you know. I was like, but it's the mental and the emotional strength that I've really had to work on and gain, and I'm so grateful for the encouragement of personal development that our team encourages. I actually encourage all my customers to also participate in 15 minutes of personal development, not just my coaches. I think I wish I could do it 24 hours a day and do nothing else. But no, just kidding. Anyway, personal development and mindset. It's helped me be more open-minded with my own journey and accepting, and it's helped me be more open-minded when other customers or coaches come to me with their questions or concerns, or, you know, the fine line between like making excuses and what people are actually able to do. I personally was in a really bad downward spiral, November, December, and into January this year. And that's about the time when the Life School podcast was shared on the team. And I think I listened to that, I can't even tell you how many times. And it helped me pull out of my downward spiral of all things and back into, you know, the positive thinking. You know, our thinking, what does she say? It's our thinking leads to our feeling, and our feelings lead to our actions, and our actions lead to our results. And that is so important. I share that with everyone. And I don't know, revisit that all the time. Along with that aspect of it, I realized that I have to run my own race. And sometimes I run, and sometimes I walk, and sometimes I'm crawling, and sometimes I'm completely stopped. And I accept that, and I understand it, and I know that it's okay for me at this time, because of all of the confidence I've built in understanding through personal development. I understand that this can be the same for other people as well. So I just really try to meet people where they are. and incorporate that little by little. A little becomes a lot, you know, like Jess mentioned. Maybe this week we'll start with a water challenge, and maybe next week you're going to get your shakes, and we're going to start a power promise. That's what I like to say to my customers or coaches, like, what's your power promise this week? What are you going to tell yourself you're going to do for that personal integrity that you can keep to yourself? Little small promises that you can keep to yourself over time leads to huge, huge, huge confidence boosts. And instead of saying, okay, you got your challenge back, we're going to start this and we're going to start this, which is amazing. Some people are like that, and I love it. And I was kind of like that at one point, and then I would just like fall over the next day. So I understand I can't do that, but man, for you guys who can just jump all in and do all the things, it's amazing. Just understand that not everyone can do it. So little by little, add in, you know, the shakes, and maybe pick out a program. The Clean Week is a really great one to get people's confidence going. Oh my gosh, I finished a whole program in 1 week. That was awesome. I feel good. Then start with something else. Okay, super off subject, but for me personally, I found myself like chronically coaching, trying to fit in, you know, a power pocket here and here, even on my days of work, which I still am working 12 and a half hour shifts, 3 days a week, with a call shift. And I found that I just really felt like I wasn't doing, and I used the words like I should so many times, and I've eliminated that from my verbiage now, and I schedule in my power hours on my days off. And on the days that I work, I just know that I'm going to take care of myself, my personal treatments I need to do, and share my journey where I can. But I'm not going to be able to do all the check marks because I don't have that many spoons. I just don't. And so that's something that I've come to realize and that I'm okay with. My coaching journey is a lot slower than a lot of other people, but also it may be faster than other, but we all know it doesn't freaking matter. We're here as a team to provide accountability and to support each other and to cheer each other on. This is not any kind of comparison. So I love all of you guys so much for that understanding. I am just going at it. I can't even look down because I'm so lost with what I was gonna say. I'm just speaking with my heart, and basically I'm just so thankful for being part of this team. It is possible for anyone. I understand the impact that we can make on all people, and if we have the patience to work with people who have an autoimmune issue, we can make huge differences in those people's lives. It does take a lot of patience, and I have to admit myself, I don't actively seek out people with autoimmune issues because it is very, very draining. But at the same time, I'm very open and receiving if people do come to me. And having it myself, I do understand the process takes a lot longer, and we do have to have a lot more patience. And I don't know where I'm going with that, Jess. I might have to give this back to you. And if I look down and I see something really impactful that I missed, I'll come back.
I actually think you closed it out just fine. I have pretty much everything that Bridget just said to close this out. So I'm going to go back and look. I know that there was at least one question.
So good. So good. I've got the question for you.
Okay.
But I just want to honor your stories, and just you both of you just matter so much and just offer so much to this team and the people that you get to help. And I just think that coaching gets to be your story, and it is really easy to look at everybody else's lane and think where you should be, or I should be further along. And I just think wherever we are right now is exactly where we're meant to be. And what I love about this journey, and Bridget, you really hit it like with the personal development of this opportunity has given us so much more than fitness and nutrition. And it's just given us a better perspective, a new outlook. It's given us, when you said, I love this compounded consistency, just that phrase legitimately just made me so excited, because that really is what we're doing. And just to see how you two have become better friends and just have a better relationship with yourselves, I think is the greatest gift you could have ever given yourselves. And I'm just massively inspired. Both of you live incredibly different lives, but there's just so many similarities, and it's not an accident. Both of you were meant to reconnect and be a part of this together. And I just thank you so much for sharing and opening up my heart and my eyes to this, because wow, like even being a new mom, the amount of energy I don't have that I am used to having, I just can't even imagine on top of, that, or working 12-hour shifts and having that, like that, just, it allows me to empathize a lot more and understand. And I think too, over the last 6 years, I've just realized that it's our race. There's no specific pace. I think we're all just trying to figure out life. And that's what I love so much about this team, is that we just want to try and grow, even if it's 1%. Or 0.5%, right? Or 20% a day. It doesn't really matter, because we're all just trying to figure it out. And we all just want to be better, and we're so meant to be here. Jess, you were about to say something about celiac, and then you didn't. So I wasn't sure if you were going to go further in that. That was the question, was about celiac and probably Shakeology. It was with the products, I think.
I don't want to go too in depth, because that one is like, so we drink vegan. So Beachbody is not stamped as gluten-free. They will never do that, because I shouldn't say never. They will most likely not do that because of the cost that it costs their farmers. But we drink vegan, and that's technically the one that has more of the gluten possibility in it, although Bridget and I do not react to it. So I think that says a lot about our ingredients. So, because if I remember correctly, Sarah Freed will only drink the regular, correct? Which is so backwards to me. So this is where I struggle with celiacs. I don't want to give any advice on that at all, because celiacs is a whole different thing of its own, because it is completely tied to its intestines. But like that is, and that was definitely one of them that I was kind of talking about, where if they're really concerned about trying it, I wouldn't push too hard, because that is definitely their right. And I would really honor that if they were really concerned about Shakeology. Now, on the other hand, you can tell them, I know, and I know Sarah Freed's a really good one. And I'm not sure who else. I haven't seen any come across lately. But yeah, Beth, didn't I say they're not certified gluten-free? That's what I was saying. That's what I was meaning. Yeah. And so it's because of the cost to the farmers, from what I understand. And like the whole ingredient idea, Bridget reacts. I react to gluten. I actually get sores around my mouth when I eat gluten. So I drink Shakeology every single day, and I have for the last almost 5 years. So, it comes down to the ingredients, but exactly. Yeah. There's something about the vegan that, Bridget, do you have anything to add to that?
The only thing that I would add is that there are no wheat products in either, or products that have gluten in them. It's more of the cross-contamination of where Shakeology is manufactured. And so oats, there are oats in, no? Yes? I don't know. Oh,
I'm sorry.
Oreos are gluten-free. I was like, what are you reacting to? Okay.
Or maybe vegan. My bad. They're vegan, not gluten-free. My bad.
I've not eaten Oreos for that long, and now you're
I'm just kidding. Don't go eat Oreos. Oh God.
I actually think that they might.
They might be, but my whole point to that was like, it's so funny because a lot of Shakeology isn't certified in a lot of things because it's ever ending ingredients like superfoods. And that was my point to that of We all get that here most likely, but people be like, oh, it's not certified this, this, and that. I'm like, yeah, but this is certified and it's on the shelves and it's full of shit. Like, you know what I mean? And what's so great about Shakeology and the products that we have is that the plants that are being put in and formulated into these products, they might find a better ingredient, they might find a better plant, or they might say, you know what, let's this one is becoming more scarce with our farmers, let's try this one. And it's formulated, and the process of getting all of that certified, since we're ever changing, which I feel is so good. It's kind of like phase baby food has to be frozen because it's full of real food and nothing in there to help keep it on the shelf. And so as soon as you refrigerate it, it has 7 days, right? Like, it's going to go bad just like regular food. So anyway, I just wanted to share that. You two are seriously incredible. Bridget, we love 7s on our team and yellows because I am not that. And I know Corey's waving. Bridget, you guys have got to meet, become friends on Facebook, because you both are 7s on our team and we need you so deeply. And you're just fun and you are down for all the activities and I love it. And Jess, you just are so full of love. I'm not even kidding. I just love your heart so much. And I'm just so thankful that you would be here sharing. What questions? Anya's a 7. I forgot about that. What questions do you have for Bridget and Jess? It could be about autoimmune, but it can also be about their story. They're doing a really great thing, and I just love what they had to say. So if you have questions for them, go ahead and drop it in the comments below. It was just such a treat. We need you both more.
I want to give a shout out to Tess, because Tess said that she is a caretaker to someone. And yes, that as someone who has it, I'm sure that it is absolutely, difficult to be a caretaker multiple days. So shout out to you, Tess.
I was going to say that, first of all, that's awesome. Thank you for that shout out. I'm so glad that you could recognize, because you can understand. But what Kayla said, I was thinking this too, where what made you go get checked out? Because I'm just like, oh my gosh, I feel my energy and then I'll sleep and I'll feel better. But it's just like, how did you know that you needed to go get checked out?
I have a funny story. I didn't at all. I was found on my husband's, they did a well check. We found it on my husband's lab well check, and it was through his job. And because of the fact that I work at a hospital, I trust my hospital, I trust my lab there. When the lab came back, my TSH came back high. So one of the markers came back high. I didn't believe the lab, and I wanted it drawn at my hospital because I figured that the lab wasn't correct. I was feeling fine. I didn't know what the heck. And then come to find out, like, I had multiple other things going on. And a lot of times with things like Hashimoto's, they kind of say that there can be a perfect storm. And I'm thinking that my perfect storm may have been my car accident in 2013. I was 3 months postpartum, so I had huge high hormones in my body. And then I went and had that huge blast of stress. And then, I think it was right around there that it probably happened. And I didn't check anything. We did. The crazy part is, working for a hospital, we did not check any labs on our well checks because I was with their insurance, and they'll do well checks for money off your insurance. Well, when I was with the hospital's labs, we didn't check them at all. Then when I switched over to my husband's, which was years later, that's when it came up, and that's when I thought, well, that can't be right. So I think it was I just found mine completely by chance.
Yeah, and mine was kind of by chance as well, but also a perfect storm. So for me, I remember just getting diagnosed, and it was only like a month before mine. And I remember I was like, Jess, this could be an autoimmune thing. I was listening to these health podcasts. You have to get this tested. Little did I know that would be my story a month later. So I just went to a well check from my primary doctor, and she not only checked TSH, which is thyroid stimulating hormone, which is the test that most doctors will only check, but she also drew a T4, which is actual thyroid hormone. and my T4 was low. So I got a phone call that said, hey, your T4 is low. I sent a prescription for a prescription, I sent the prescription. We need to redraw your blood in 6 weeks. And I was like, what the heck? And then I started thinking, maybe this is why I can't lose any weight. Maybe this is why I feel bloated all the time. Maybe this is why I'm having all these other issues that I kept pushing off and ignoring. So I'm so thankful for my doctor for drawing that lab. For me, that has led to, this is going on 3 years now of a process of figuring out my root cause. So not only do I have Hashimoto's and probably 2 other autoimmune issues, I found the root cause to be an infection from a tick bite when I was in junior high. So I've been dealing with chronic Lyme for 25 years, not even knowing that I had this infection. But because of this infection, now my immune system is overworked and causing all these other issues, but I'm slowly reversing them, which is amazing. With the help, obviously, of special doctors, but with also the support of this group. So there's no way I could make time to go to a gym, nor have the energy to go to a gym. But yeah, that's how how I was diagnosed with the thyroid. So then I went on and asked my physician to draw the antibody test to confirm that it was autoimmunity, and then it was a lot of diet changing, lifestyle changing, and all those things. But that's kind of my story.
Wow. This is just like, your voices and your stories are so needed to be continually shared, because I also feel as though maybe when people get diagnosed, they give up and they just let it be what it is. And I just think it's really amazing that the two of you are fighting for your health, and you're fighting for not just your physical health, but also your mental health. Because when you were talking about how frustrating it could be, where your reality isn't what you want all the time, but the fact that you still I'm getting goosebumps thinking about that, of like the time you pour into personal development and this team to just see a lighter part of your life when it can probably feel pretty dark, especially if you are just depleted and all you want to be doing is up and moving around. And so thank you so much for just sharing and enlightening me. And also just, I don't know, I just wrote down a lot of making small goals, and just, it might take you longer to finish something, but that's okay, because a lot of times we glorify the result. And I really, on this team, I just want to glorify the process, and I really want to just help our coaches live more fulfilled each day while on their way to getting better. And I think you did that tonight. I really do. I really believe that. I really think that you spoke to the coaches, that they also can just honor their story and honor where they are, because unintentionally we all think we have to be farther along, and I don't even know what that means, measured up and compared to what, right? Like, let's just honor where we are now and be about growth. So